come so far, you prepared so well. In this last leg, what is it that I would want you to do? Well, let me reframe it. What is it that I would have done if I was writing exam in your place? Talking about paper 1, advanced accounting, we know we have 3 good modules. I would not want you to start advanced accounting way too early. See, it's always an easy go to start our first paper way too early, 1 week before, 10 days before. This is not going to have any negative impact on the paper of advanced accounting, but this is going to have a very bad impact on your law paper. Here I am not just wanting you to do well in your advanced accounting, but I want you to do well in both the groups or one group, whatever you're writing, and do come out successful in the exam. If we give more than 3-4 days for advanced accounting paper, that will create too much of vacuum for your law paper. Your accounts paper might go well, but your law paper might start feeling little suffocated and you might feel very less time. So I would personally suggest you to give 3 or at max 4 days and not more than that for your first paper. What if accounts was paper 2 or paper 3? Would have definitely not got more than 1.5. So 1.5 days usually for any other paper. I agree. First time you're writing CA inter exam, first paper, very big paper. The course is relevant on this paper. So at max 3, or if you're already planned for 4 days, 4 and not more than that. And when you talk about this paper, there are certain chapters which I believe you can pull it off in the exam just by revising our chart notes or quick revision video or marathon video without much of writing practice. I'm going to mention certain topics which you can do this way, but there are also certain topics which I have to require you to mandatorily write and practice. Talking chapter wise, introduction to accounting standards, I'll tell you later when to do this topic. Keep it to the end. Chances of questions in this chapter is very less probable, but there can still be that short notes questions telling you what are the advantages of accounting, drawbacks of accounting standards, or certain aspects like this. When it comes to framework for preparation of financial statements, of late there have been questions wherein you've been asked to prepare a concerns balance sheet when there is going concern or when there is no going concern, as well as PL. It was one of our past exam question as well. So do stay prepared for that, and also write and practice capital maintenance questions from second chapter. The third chapter, applicability of accounting standards, there is an amendment. Amendment is covered in our marathon revision video. So please do watch this amendment. Don't go to the exam without watching this amendment. There is a very high probability that you might end up getting a 2-marker MCQ question on this amendment portion. AS1 disclosure of accounting policies as a topic. You don't have to do much writing practice. Please go through our entire color notes with AQs, or you do the quick revision video. That should be more than sufficient. Cash flow statement, you need writing practice. I'm referring to the entire chapter 11 unit 2. And segment reporting, it's a topic against which the question is long stand pending. It's been quite few attempts so far now with no question on AS17. So be ready. I'm not speculating paper at all. I'm no one to speculate. Be ready for a question wherein they've given you asset data, revenue data, result data, as well as entity being segment reportable in the previous year. Based on that, identifying reportable segment kind of a question can come anytime soon. Stay prepared and do write practice this specific question. AS18, usually it can be an MCQ, or worst case, they can ask you a short note question telling whether it is a related party or not. Is there a separate disclosure required or not? If yes, what kind of transactions and how many transactions? You can just revise this, skim through our notes, or go through the quick revision video. That should be more than sufficient. AS20, please do solve questions when there is bonus issue, when there is right issue, and diluted EPS with convertible debentures, convertible preference shares, as well as questions with employee stock options, with preference share dividend adjustment. Do go through these kind of questions. If in case you've done this in the past, then you do that, what do you say, multiple level dilution question. If not, take that lightly. Then 24 and 25, don't have to do any writing practice. Just go through questions. 24, be aware to write that definition very clearly. If in case they ask a short note question, you have to write that complete definition of discontinued operation and then tell whether it is continuing operation or discontinuing operation or not. When it comes to 25, in the one of the recent attempts, they had asked a question wherein you are supposed to tell whether that interim period's profit computed is correct or not. So I would want you to be slightly more cautious and be ready for a question on tax computation, effective tax rate. Be aware when to find out effective tax rate and when not to find effective tax rate. Then when it comes to questions on accounting standard 2, you would have to do a little bit of writing practice. do such questions where you would have to value your raw material valuation and WIP valuation depended upon finished goods valuation. Don't skip any such question, and also make yourself more familiar with questions which have joint product and byproduct involved. Remember, the accounting treatment is slightly different from how you do in costing. Usually students end up not reading these questions from AS2, end up writing accounts answer in the costing way. So group 2 and group 1 are two different subjects. Please don't mess that up, and practice questions on joint product byproduct separately here. And accounting standard 10, there are too many questions to practice, but it's always doable in the exam. There have been questions quite often asked also. Do revise this. Don't waste time writing and practicing this. Please make yourself very comfortable and aware of assets purchased for non-cash consideration, decommissioning liability computation, and few other concepts, basically all the concepts that is there in our accounting standard 10. Too many concepts, but I don't think you would have to do any writing practice here. But when you come to accounting standard 13, this has been asked in the last attempt and it can be asked again and again. So please do practice questions on this case. Be aware of computation of cost in the event of sale of certain investments, how to compute it in the case of utilizing average cost basis, how to compute it using first in first out basis, and practice both variable income securities, fixed income securities. Learn the treatment of ex interest price, cum interest price, brokerage and registration charges, how to deal with pre-acquisition dividend, post-acquisition dividend, reclassification of current investments to non-current or non-current to current. Make yourself comfortable. Question which can very often come in the examination and needs definite writing practice from your end. And when you talk about investment accounting, you can change the orientation of the page in the exam to write. We did not write it in the portrait. You can write in the landscape manner of your book. Change it into horizontal format and write. Or you can write debit side of the answer in one side of the page and credit on the other side. No matter what you're doing, don't use margin. Leave it empty. Borrowing cost, be aware, please do practice enough questions. Learn to identify qualifying asset, which is qualifying asset, which is not. How to compute borrowing cost, when it is specific borrowing, when it is general borrowing. How to identify weighted average cost for general borrowing. When to start computing interest to be capitalized for specific borrowing. When to start for general borrowing. You can solve a couple of past exam questions on this to make yourself aware. There's one variety of question that's been not asked till date in AS16, that is with regard to AS16 and AS11 combination. When you've taken a foreign currency loan, and how much of foreign exchange difference should be treated as borrowing. So that's one thing that I would want you to practice and be ready for when it comes to accounting standard 16. Leases, be aware how to do finance lease computation, unearned finance income, or minimum lease payment, gross investment, net investment, along with accounting entries. And for operating lease, be comfortable with sale and lease back for operating lease. How much profit to be recognized immediately, how much to be deferred and amortized. So those questions you please do practice. Writing practice is needed for 19. 26, there are questions, but I don't think you have to spend too much time on writing and practicing. Be aware of amortization period, that there is a period beyond which you cannot amortize, no, 10 years. So be aware of that depreciation and useful life based provisions for AS 26. AS 28, practice questions on computation of net selling price, value in use, recoverable amount, how to identify impairment loss. Also practice reversal of impairment loss booked in the previous years. If in case you have done it in the past, be ready with bottom up and top down approach also. This is one standard where you need good writing practice. Employee benefits, there are not too many varieties of questions. Standard can be very high standard, but the level of questions in our study material are very little. So be ready and learn how to compute service cost, and then DBO, present value of DBO, and also practice those questions on plan assets, how to identify expected return, actual gain or loss. There are hardly 2-3 varieties. Please do write and practice this, and be ready for a couple of theory questions on what is the difference between defined benefit obligation and defined contribution plan, how to identify whether a employee benefit is short term or other long term, or post employment and termination difference. That's something that you should be cautious. 29, you can only revise. There is one variety of question that's been asked, warranty provision computation percentage, that's been asked in one of the past attempts. That similar question is there in study material. Please do that question at least once before you go to the examination. Otherwise than that, rest of it is all theory. Be aware of provision and contingent liability difference and all of these things. AS4 and AS5, again, only revision is good enough. Be aware of what is adjusting, what is not adjusting, how to apply that exception of going concern, substratum of going concern being questioned in AS4. AS5, you should know definition of what is prior period, what is extraordinary, what is ordinary, what is exceptional. Once you know all of these, if in case the question comes up in the exam on this, they'll mention an event, you should be able to tell, is it exceptional, extraordinary, prior period or ordinary? If it is, then is there separate disclosure required or not? You just have to write the definition once again and write the facts of the case once again. In the conclusion, you tell whether it is an item needing separate disclosure or not. And otherwise than that, if you do our complete set of AQs on AS5, that should be good enough. Coming to AS11, you need a little bit of writing practice here. Be aware of identifying monetary item, non-monetary item, how to identify exchange difference, how is it adjusted, and also revise those para 46A questions, FC, MITDA, how not to charge foreign exchange difference to P&L instead to capitalize to the asset, or if the asset is not there, FC, MITDA. That questions we've done about 2-3 in the class. Be aware of that concept that can come. And foreign branch and this part is very closely connected. Maybe you can keep that in mind when you do. If you stress too much when you're doing AS11, you can take foreign branch slightly lightly when you do branch accounting, or you can skip that foreign operations part when you do AS11, cover it up when you do branch accounting. AS22 taxes on income. Please do writing practice in identifying deferred tax asset, deferred tax liability comparison, and also do a set of questions on MAT, minimum alternate tax. There is one theory question on tax holiday. Do read that theory and then ensure that you have that language at the tip of your tongue, because that's again a question which is possible to come in the exam, and if it comes, you will be able to ace it. So this needs some writing practice. A7, very easy to do, yet you need writing practice in this. You can practice one set of questions where you need to apply percentage completion method, identify how much of revenue to be booked, compare with expense to find the contract profit or loss for the period. Another set of question that you can practice and prepare for when it comes to accounting standard 7 is where you have to identify whether there is advance from customer or advance to customer. Be aware of the data given in the question. Sometimes it will be cumulative and sometimes it will not be cumulative. You would have to do a couple of questions as writing practice. If you're doing it from our material, please do ensure that you do at least the last 4 or 5 questions where the data given is slightly complex for you to identify the contract revenue. Then AS9, revenue recognition exclusively theory types. Just read through that and then see when to recognize revenue for different cases of sale, how to recognize for service, proportionate completion method, complete completion method, as well as special items like royalty, interest, dividend. Government grant, be ready to know when to adjust it against the cost of the asset, when not to adjust against the cost of the asset. More likely part is refund based question, where sometimes you would have taken it to deferred government grant, sometimes you would have taken the grant to P&L, and when you would have to refund the government grant which you already booked, you need to know where to take it from, when to take it from DGG, when to charge it to P&L. Such questions based on refund, you please do writing practice with journal entry. Amalgamation is a topic that you cannot skip. Every damn attempt there has been question. Know the difference between amalgamation nature of purchase and merger and the accounting entries in the books of transferor, transferee, as well as post amalgamation balance sheet. Lot of questions that we practiced in the class are questions which are of 20 marks, but in the exam the question that will be coming is at max is for 14 marks. So they might ask entries in the books of transferor only, or entries in the books of transferee only, or transferor journal entries and transferee balance sheet post amalgamation, or one complex goodwill adjustment and then just this. There have been couple of new questions in the material. One is on super profit method. We've added a separate video on that. You can definitely try revisiting that question and then observing that. That is slightly more for a 14 mark, but can still come because it's been newly added in the material. Please do ensure that you do some writing practice of everything, transferor books, transferee books, and balance sheet when it comes to amalgamation, and all the methods of PC also, guys. Consolidated financial statements. Last day, the day before exam, you won't be able to do much. If you can revise all the key points from all our AQs, that should be good. Don't take consolidation of PL lightly. That's what majority of them did last time, which burned their hands. Associate is very easy to do, but other than September 2024 exam, it has not come anytime else. Please solve some questions on this to identify goodwill, capital reserve separately, and that kind of questions where the minority interest or the investor's investment in the associate is going to become negative, where the accumulated losses is huge, and we will show it as zero. Please do practice such question. And interest in joint venture, don't waste time, very easy to do, but do revise through the entire variety of questions: jointly controlled asset, jointly controlled entity, co-venture accounting, and joint venture accounting, because it's an easy topic. If it comes in the exam, you cannot miss out on writing it wrong. Then coming to preparation of financial statements. See, financial statements anyways, you become really good at it because you do financial statements in amalgamation, consolidation, internal reconstruction at every place. But read through disclosure requirements, because though your balance sheet tallies, they might not give you full marks if you don't get disclosures correct when you do your financial statements. And do practice dividend based problems. Dividend based problems, dividend in the event where there is no sufficient profits, that can come in the topic of financial statements in accounting, or they can ask such questions in your law paper also. Then cash flow statement, practice indirect method, direct method, both. Direct method, it will be easier to crack. If you have less time, please do practice indirect method questions where they give you P&L, and sometimes where they don't give you P&L. And buyback of securities, two varieties of questions to practice. One is set of journal entries that you need to pass. Second is where you are supposed to determine what is the maximum permissible buyback. Debt equity ratio test, our DRS, our resource test, as well as our share outstanding test. And we have a cute little shortcut to find it. You don't have to do simultaneous linear equation. So please do refer that formula once, and then ensure that you are aware of it as to how to do for buyback of securities. Amalgamation I mentioned before. Reconstruction needs writing practice. If in case you are short of time in those 2-3 days before the exam, skip practice for reconstruction. I have done that when I was writing my inter exam, because this is one topic which, even if you have not done much of practice in the past, you will still be able to crack it in the exam. Just have to read the transaction, identify it, and then write. But be aware of reduced to, reduced by, reduction in both paid up value and nominal value, reduction only in nominal value, change in authorized capital, and all of these kind of questions. Maybe spend more time reading the question than writing the answer here. And branches, I know you know in the last few attempts, whenever the question has come, it's been only 6 marks. But that 6 marks sometimes might be very easy 6 marks. If you've already decided to skip it, I can't help, I can't convince you over a YouTube video to do this. But if in case you're open for thought, I would tell you, do one question on debtors method, one on stock debtors. Final accounts, you don't have to do any questions as a practice. Debtors, stock debtors, do one on wholesale price method and foreign branch. Do one question each and then go. If in case a very easy doable question comes, with this much knowledge, you will be definitely able to do. I agree, the reluctancy with this topic is because there are too many variety of questions and then too less marks in the exam. But it's just that one attempt in which institute might just start asking it for more marks, or an easy bigger question of more than 6 marks. So we should be ready for that attempt. Certain don't start advanced accounts way too early. Don't start it a week or 10 days in advance. 3 to 4 days is good and not more than that. And that's again to keep your law paper and tax paper intact. Don't audit the answer in these 3 days before exam. I agree it's last 3 days, but even in these 3 days, ensure that you do little bit of writing practice. At least for the topics what I mentioned, do at least solve just one question. Because in the exam, you will be given question paper for which you need to write the answer. They won't give you answers which you need to audit or correct and then tell whether it is correct or not. So for accounts exam, be an accountant, write and practice the answers, and then please do write well in the examination. And don't take up any new problems or any new materials. What we've done in the class is good. Our material is trustworthy, and it does cover almost everything that comes for the examination. Believe in me, believe in yourself, though your name is not Meghana, and I think you should be able to ace it. Don'ts, do's is trust your preparation and do writing practice. That's it. And like I mentioned, exam day is the day of your rocket launch. I want you to plan T-1, T-2, and T-3. If in case I was writing exam in your place, T-3, 3 days before the exam, I would do introduction framework, financial statements, cash flow, and I would do this light presentation disclosure based standards. AS1, AS17, AS18, 20, 24, 25. And I would sum it up with 2, 10, 13, 16 asset based standards. On day 2, accounting topics, I would do amalgamation, internal reconstruction. I would recommend you very strongly, the moment you start in the day, morning, do these big topics: financial statements, cash flow, amalgamation, internal reconstruction, consolidation, so that there is some movement and there is some writing. Maybe when you come to the second half of the day where your energy becomes slightly low, there you do these small standards because things are getting over quick. You feel like things are moving and you feel like taking them forward. So the day 2 of your preparation, start with amalgamation internal reconstruction. If you want, you can save up time on internal reconstruction by not doing it and spend more time on 19 and 28. You do 19, 26, 28, followed by liability based standards 15, 29, and financial statements based standards 4, 5, 11, and 22. And just the day before examination, do consolidation, and if you're planning to do branch, please do branch. Applicability of accounting standards, like I mentioned, there is an amendment, please do that. And along with that, you do 4, 5, 11, 22 with 7, 9, 12. And if there is anything left over in these 3 days, keep it for the exam day. Don't plan anything specific for the day of the examination. Start early to the exam because it's the first day of your exam. Identify where the washroom is. Sit in your place. Don't forget to carry calculator to the exam hall like you forget carrying calculator to classroom. Take your admit card. Take your identification proof. Carry yourself with very good amount of confidence to the examination. I believe in you. You can do really well. Come out, and some things that you should not carry back from the examination hall is your admit card you should carry back. Question paper, roll it up, put it in the dustbin there only, and you come back. Once you come back in another few hours, maybe in a day or two, ICA will officially post it on the website. You can download it from there. Don't dare to discuss accounting after your paper is over. In fact, if you want, don't carry accounts books to exam hall. You study till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. When you go, leave everything at home. That AQ book is very important. Don't carry it to exam hall. Keep it at home and go. If you take it to exam hall, someone might steal it or it might get drenched in rain. I know you don't need it for inter again, but you would need it at any point of time if you want to refer back to AS. And if you really want to carry books to exam hall, carry law books so that 5 o'clock when you finish your advanced accounting exam and when you're commuting back, you can read little law if you would really want to make the maximum out of the minute that's left. And that's it. Wear your favorite shirt, carry your favorite pen, pray to your favorite God, talk to your best friend before you go, take blessings from elders and God, and hoping very eagerly to see you successful in the upcoming examination. Like I always say, stay in the game.